This evening, the Ministry of Education and GPL holds an autism walk and public awareness on Main Street. Parents express their thoughts on adolescent booster vaccinations. Ghana Fire Service is investigating the circumstances behind the death of an elderly man in a house fire on the East Coast. In the region, U.S. to release 1 million barrels of oil per day from reserves. And internationally, Malaysia reopens its borders for the first time in 2 years. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. In recognition of World Autism Awareness Day, the Ministry of Education's Special Education Needs Unit, in collaboration with Ghana Power and Light Incorporated, hosted an autism walk and public awareness session on the Avenue at Main Street earlier today. Autism is a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, interact with others, and experience their surroundings. It is a long-term disability that begins when a person is born and continues into old age. Every autistic individual is unique in their own way. The day recognizes and spreads awareness for the rights of people with autism. World Autism Awareness Day is observed internationally on April 2nd annually. According to the Minister of Health, the government is contemplating the advice of the CDC and FDA in the United States to offer booster doses to anyone aged 12 and up. Esther Sobers interviewed a few parents to gather their thoughts on the subject. Here's more.
As the country continues to see a decline in COVID cases, life has somewhat returned to normalcy, with many stringent COVID restrictions in the past now being relaxed. Despite this, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, has said that the government is considering the recommendation which was given by the Centers of Disease Control and the Food and Drug Administration of the United States to offer booster doses to persons 12 years and older. Although thousands of Guyanese have taken the COVID vaccine, the same cannot be said for many adolescents who have yet to receive their COVID shots. Their shot is given with the consent of their parents. Today, Headline News spoke to a few parents who expressed varying views about the vaccine.
Owing to the booster shot, I do think that parents should decide for the children if they should or not take it, because many people have died in the past. But for the students, parents must make that right decision. I do think that whatever decision they make, it should be beneficial for not only them but also their children.
I'm a parent of 2 teenagers. I think the booster shots, I think the parents should give the children the booster shot, should be allow the children to take the booster shot, because it helps them. Because myself as a parent, I took both of my booster shots. I took both of them, and it helped me because, I could remember one time I wasn't feeling so well, and that Saturday I decided, I have to go and take that booster shot, and that was my first booster shot. So I went and I took it, and to my surprise, when I go home, I had complication with the fever, yes, but I was feeling much more better. So for the children, I think that yes, they can take the booster shot because it will help them a lot.
On May 10, 2021, the Food and Drug Administration expanded its emergency use authorization for the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to include adolescents aged 12 to 15 years. This authorization was followed by interim recommendations from the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices for the vaccine among this age group. Meanwhile, with school around the corner to fully reopen their doors on April 26, the Ministry of Health continues to urge parents with children above age 12 years to get them immunized. Additionally, with the World Health Organization approving the reformulation of the US-made Pfizer vaccine for children 5 to 11 years, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said the ministry would train healthcare workers to administer the vaccine to this population. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Some 299 women in Regions 2 and 7 on Wednesday benefited from the distribution of grants through the Empowerment Fund, totaling some $14.9 million. The initiative is a collaboration between the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security and the World Food Bank. The initiative was launched late last year to help women who had completed the ministry's Women Innovation and Investment Network program get the funding they need to start their own businesses. Dr. Vinaya Prasad, Minister of Human Services, stated that the initiative is being undertaken to assist women in becoming financially stable. She added that women have to start thinking about what to do to ensure that they can sustain themselves. The recipients expressed their appreciation for the grants as the money will be a stepping stone for their businesses. Stick around after the break. Residents of David Road Street in South Rheinfeldt Gardens bombarded by dust, and elderly man killed in house fire at Bachelor's Adventure.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries, and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rheinfeldt or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Welcome back. After years of complaining about the deplorable state of David Rose Street in South Rhinefeld Gardens, the residents are now plagued with a major dust crisis. While this is a sight one may see in the interiors of Guyana, this is the state of the David Rose Street on most days since the dry season began. The deterioration of the road began with the development of the industrial site at Caneview Avenue over 5 years ago, with the traversing of heavy-duty trucks and equipment. Some temporary road works were done at intervals in the past. However, these were initiated only when the residents came out and blocked the heavy-duty vehicles from passing, halting the ongoing works in the area. Further, the road was used as a primary access road during the construction of the Mandela-Eccles Highway, resulting in a large number of heavy-duty trucks bringing supplies and equipment down the narrow roadway. With the highway nearly completed, the road is now in a dusty state, leaving residents in the neighborhood to deal with the consequences, which includes posing a serious health risk. Residents in South Rhinefeld Gardens area are calling on the relevant authorities to look into this issue that has been ongoing for too long. The Guyana Fire Service is probing the circumstances behind an elderly man's death in a fire on Demerara's East Coast. Aliyah De Matos, our junior reporter, has more.
An elderly man tragically lost his life when his one-flat home located at Lot 292 Bachelor's Adventure, East Coast, Demerara, went up in flames on Thursday, March 31st. Dead is 76-year-old Charles Brown. Reports are that the Guyana Fire Service was alerted of a fire at the location around 8:20 a.m. However, the structure was engulfed in flames when the fire tender arrived. The structure involved was a one-flat timber and concrete building owned by Onika Lawrence Charles and occupied by three: 35-year-old Andrew Reed, 13-year-old Godfrey Reeds, and now deceased Charles. The supposed cause of the fire was a lighted kerosene stove left unattended, which flared up and ignited nearby combustible materials. The building and its contents were completely destroyed by the fire as a result. The Guyana Fire Service continues to plead with citizens to take necessary precautions to avoid fire emergencies and educate themselves regarding fire safety and prevention. Cooking should never be left unattended. Ensure to turn off stoves properly when not in use. Keep children away from cooking area and ensure matches and lighters are out of reach of children. Install fire prevention and firefighting equipment in houses and businesses. For Headline News Update, Aliyah De Matos.
Thanks, Aliyah. Don't go away after the break. Malaysia reopens its borders for the first time in 2 years, and U.S. to release 1 million barrels of oil per day from reserves. But before that, here's the Bridge Retraction schedule.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rhinefeld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 4-6 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. President Joe Biden has announced the largest release of the United States oil reserves in history to ease domestic and global prices. It is the third time in 6 months that Biden has drawn on the stockpiles of crude oil. Al Jazeera's Mike Hanna reports.
US consumers had been warned they would pay the price for sanctions against Russia, and so they are. The price of gas at the pumps has increased by nearly $1, some 20%, since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's risen 47% in the past year. And President Biden has announced a series of measures to bring some relief to the US consumer, including a release of 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
This is a wartime bridge to increase oil supply until production ramps up later this year. And it is by far the largest release of our national reserve in our history. It will provide a historic amount of supply for a historic amount of time, a 6-month bridge to the fall.
Republicans dismiss the move as politically motivated.
The reserve is supposed to exist for giant unforeseen crises, such as a war between great powers. It's not there so that anti-energy politicians whose policies have raised gas prices can try to hide that from the public.
This is just one of a multi-pronged approach to easing the oil crisis. The president is also invoking the Defense Production Act to ease supply chain issues that have hindered the drive to promoting clean energy. For example, removing the bottleneck in the supply of components like lithium, essential to the development of electric vehicles. The president also had harsh words for some oil companies that he says are seeking to profit from the crisis.
For U.S. oil companies that are recording their largest profits in years, they have a choice. One, they can put those profits to productive use by producing more oils, restarting idle wells, or producing on the sites they already are leasing, giving the American people a break by passing some of the savings on to their customers and lowering the price at the pump. Or they can, as some of them are doing, exploit the situation.
And in a controversial move, he's called on Congress to penalize companies that lease federal land but are not drilling on it. President Biden says the US has a history of seeking opportunity in crisis, and the long-term aim is to make the country oil independent by increasing traditional production and by further developing clean energy resources. The political reality is that to achieve the long-term aim, the president's party would have to retain control of Congress, and that is likely to be determined by whether the short-term aim of reducing gas prices by the time of midterm elections in November is achieved. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Washington.
NATO says Russian forces are not scaling back their invasion, but are regrouping to fight in eastern Ukraine. This comes as the battle to control Kharkiv continues, with one United States official saying Russia is not making any major gains in the city. Al Jazeera's Asad Beg reports.
There's only death here. Bodies of young Russian soldiers lying unclaimed. Apparent victims of poor tactics, or so the Ukrainians tell us.
It was very intensive fighting. Our guys had high morale. A special operation was planned together with the 92nd Brigade. They flanked this position and then cleared it.
The Russians had poor defensive positions, say their enemies, exposing them to Ukrainian artillery. This was a Russian defensive line. All along here, you have what's left over of this intense battle. Burnt out tanks, weapons left behind, grenades. They didn't even have time to take some of their dead. Everywhere we look, there are signs of battle and fear of chemical attack. Ukrainian soldiers salvage what's left. The village of Malarohan is back under Ukrainian control, but the cost has been high. A fierce battle pushed the Russians away from the gates of Kharkiv. 21-year-old Yevgeny has been awarded Ukraine's highest honor for destroying 5 tanks and other heroics during battle. He tells us it's the first time he's come across the use of phosphorus, the highly flammable chemical.
It was my first experience with phosphorus. Airstrikes were not as scary as the phosphorus. First they used the airstrikes, then the phosphorus. My eyes were burning, I couldn't breathe through my nose. It was like really difficult to breathe. The equipment was burning, it was bad.
We can't independently verify its use. This was one of the main streets in this village, and it's completely destroyed. Every building, every window, everything that you see has some sort of damage. There's bullet holes in the doors, the windows have been blown out, there's bricks all over the place. And we've been told that we can only stick to this main road because everywhere around hasn't been completely demined, because the fear is that the Russians have left mines and booby traps behind for the Ukrainian soldiers taking this place. But as you see, there's not much left. Asad Beg, Al Jazeera, outside Kharkiv.
Malaysia is reopening its borders for the first time in 2 years. The country has maintained some of the tightest entry restrictions in Asia since March 2020 to try to contain the spread of COVID-19. Al Jazeera's Florence Loy reports.
0418 from Abu Dhabi.
After 2 long years of border closures, Malaysia is welcoming back tourists from abroad. Quarantine requirements for fully vaccinated travellers are lifted from Friday.
During 2 years, impossible to come here, impossible. And suddenly, very good idea, open again. So I'm here for the first day. I'm very happy to be here in Malaysia again.
Visitors still have to show a negative COVID-19 test result before they leave their home nations and undergo another test on arrival. Foreigners must also have travel insurance with a minimum value of $20,000. Travel agencies like this one have already seen a surge in the number of Malaysians travelling overseas after the government lifted a travel ban last October. They're now hoping there'll also be a boom in visitors from abroad.
Requests are there, but I think we have to wait a couple of more months to see whether or not they do materialize. And I think part of it is that the government still has restriction imposed. So unless this is removed, I don't think tourism would really go back to pre-pandemic time as fast as we expect it to be.
The tourism industry was badly hit when Malaysia shut its borders in 2020. And domestic tourism was also affected when interstate travel was banned for much of last year. Malaysia's transition to prepare for an endemic phase of coronavirus also means other restrictions are being lifted. Prayers and religious activities can now be held without physical distancing requirements, which means mosques like this one here can be filled to capacity once again.
It's different when there's distancing during the prayer. It's different. It feels different when even though it's congregational prayer, but there's a space in between you all, it feels different. It's not the same. You stand side by side with your brother, shoulder to shoulder.
Malaysia reported a daily average of more than 18,000 new coronavirus cases in the last week, but most were mild or without symptoms. The government has indicated it's prepared to ease more restrictions over time as the world learns to normalize life with coronavirus. Florence Louis, Al Jazeera, Kuala Lumpur.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.